There is an army in clan capital that is almost as broken as the XL size lava hound. This army can easily earn up to 40,000 capital gold per raid weekend, and all you need for it are 10 miners, 2 freeze spells, 1 lightning, 2 brain cells and 1 finger. It can two-shot every single district, but there are some instances where you need to adjust the army, so we are gonna go over all the districts one by one. First of all, we have quite decently upgraded Goblin Mines district, where the whole strategy is to drop 2 freeze spells on main offenses like Minion Hive, Blast Bow, Inferno Tower, etc. If they are clumped together like this, then it's a no-brainer to drop one here and second one here. Now it's time to trigger some traps. Most bases have traps right around the spawn area, and in Goblin Mines there are loads of traps. Some that deal 1000 damage already at level 1. And as you can see here, 5 battle rams were able to trigger 7 traps before the main attack. Now simply let the super miners do their magic. Most of the time it doesn't even matter where you are going to deploy these troops, as they are just so ridiculously strong with the help from the freeze spells. Even though my clanmate used his lightning spell to deal some damage to the defenses, then I would advise to save it in case the super miners are going to destroy the whole goblin thrower before it throws any barrels. If that happens, then your miners would have to deal with 15 goblins, which can keep your troops distracted for ages. So what you want to do instead is to use the lightning right between the circle of goblins, because then you can get rid of them immediately. When it comes to the second hit, then once again place the freeze spells on defenses and send in the miners. Also, the battle rams don't add real value for the second hit, so you can go with all miners instead. I know many people find Skeleton Park difficult to destroy into attacks, but here you can see how I am going to take down almost entirely maxed out Skeleton Park with no effort whatsoever. Even before using any spells, I sent in the miners to see where they are going to funnel, and according to that I will be placing the spells. And this is something I suggest you to do as well, because there are times when you can't quite predict where they are going to funnel. So in these instances it's better to wait a little and then place the first freeze spell. Since Skeleton Park doesn't have any goblins to zap, then the best use for the lightning spell is to deal damage and reset the attack animation on the defenses that are not in the freeze spell's effect radius. Once the core of the base got cleaned up, I noticed the miners went to the upper side, so I placed the second spell on Minion Hive, which is one of the main offenses that deals a lot of damage. Since I didn't see any point of bringing battle rams with me to expand the deployment area, then I sent in 1 miner to clean up that right side building, and now I use the good old 1 finger technique to spam in rest of the miners. Then there were 2 obvious groups of defenses left that had to be slowed down, so I dropped freeze spells on them. When it comes to Golem quarry, then there is one really important thing you should follow if you want to make sure the miner spam is going to succeed, and that is the fact that almost every Golem quarry base layout looks like this. If all the buildings are located on one half from the whole area, then obviously we are not going to place miners from the middle or spread them along the side. What you want to do instead is to clean up the outer buildings so that miners can funnel inside, whether from upper right side or bottom left side. This way they are not gonna split up too much, and most importantly, this way they are not surrounded by so many defenses, which allows them to clean up more buildings in the end. This technique has been working for me so far, and it's pretty simple to follow. For the second hit I typically take only miners without any additional troops, as you don't need to create funnel for them anymore. By the way, if you would like to see more similar videos, then take 3 seconds to gently push that like button. Are you having a problem where no one in your clan wants to clean up dragon cliffs? Worry no more, because dragons are super miners' favorite pet that very loyally follow them around wherever they go without causing any harm. Simply cool the dragons down. Use 1 battle ram to trigger any potential traps. Send in the miners, and then distract the dragons whenever necessary using weather battle rams or a giant. Personally, I like to use the lightning spell on one of the dragons, and if the dragon happens to be inside the frost spell, then the lightning will also freeze it for about 1-2 seconds. For the second attack, I would advise to pick the same army so you can distract the dragons, as they are very keen to follow the miners. Here I was trying to lure the dragons slightly to the left side of the spawn area so I can deploy the miners to clean up the right side defenses. Once the miners are underground, I deployed a giant from far right corner to distract the dragons so that the miners can freely clean up the buildings. As you might have noticed, I didn't use any spells before deploying miners, because also in this instance I wasn't sure where they would funnel. Seeing where they are going allows you to place the spells more accurately. Builder's Workshop is one of the easiest districts and all you have to do is to deploy everything on the map and then wait. Only thing I can say is that if the layout is very packed together then you might not even need that 4th frost spell. You can take heal spell instead, which ensures the miners will stay alive, so you will get some extra gold from the troops that survived. Once again, very easy map most of the time, as people have to squeeze all their buildings into this area, which means most of the defenses are right next to each other, which is perfect for the frost spell. Similarly to the previous attack on Builder's Workshop, you might be better off with 1 frost spell and 1 heal spell to keep the troops nice and healthy to get that extra gold. Everything I have explained earlier works also for Wizard Valley. It doesn't have particularly different approach, as many clans place their buildings right in the center, so you don't even have to think where to drop the frost spells and how to funnel the miners. Even without using heal spells, all the miners survived, adding 675 gold to the total score. Out of all the districts so far, Barbarian Camp is definitely the most difficult one for super miners because there are loads of defending giants to distract them, but it's still possible to get it down into attacks. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to attack higher level Barbarian Camp, but it can be done even when it's a completely maxed out base. I have seen people using 1 frost spell and then whether a heal spell or 2 skeleton spells. So I would advise to simply play around with the spells because it's not always necessary to use only frost spells. For example, heal might be vital to keep the miners alive when there are many bomb towers in one area. Now it's time for the big one. As we all know, Capital Peak is the final boss of the clan capital, so definitely don't be too harsh on yourself if you can't get it down into attacks. My strategy how I approached this base was to clean out those outer buildings so my miners would just funnel around the base, but surprise surprise, there was a bomb, which meant that I wasted 25 housing space of troops for nothing. In this case, having 10 miners would have been a lot better value, so the lesson learned is to keep things simple sometimes and just spam. Then I also misplaced the frost spell and now the blast bow was constantly shooting my miners, but in the end it's not a big deal. For the second attack I decided to attack from the top, so I had to use few battle rams to increase the deployment area and I was able to get another 30% of the base. Third attack, my main priority was to get that capital hall down, and once that was out of the way then the rest was easy peasy lemon squeezy, regardless of the fact I had made so many mistakes earlier. If you are wondering how I got 40,000 on these accounts, then it's very simple. All you need for it is a second account where you will prepare the base for your main account's attack. In case you don't already have a second account, then these days a brand new account can be rushed to Town Hall 6 in one day. Next week I will upload a in-depth gem mining tutorial where I will briefly also explain how to strategically rush. So if you are going to start a new account, then be sure to subscribe because it will greatly benefit your progress. But for now, if you would like to make 120,000 capital gold per week instead of 40,000, then check out this video where I share tips and tricks how to earn some additional capital gold.